Let's face it, life's surprises don't pause for your bank balance. That sudden, gut-wrenching lurch you feel when the check engine light comes on. The frantic calculation in your head when your pet needs an emergency vet visit. Or the quiet panic that sets in when your hours are cut at work. These moments don't check your savings account before they strike. They just happen. And in the economic landscape of 2025, navigating these financial shocks without a safety net feels more precarious than ever. The truth is, for millions of us, a single unexpected expense of a few $100s can be the tipping point that sends a carefully managed budget spiraling into debt and overwhelming stress. It's a constant, low-grade anxiety humming in the background of our lives. We're living in an era of uncertainty. Inflation has reshaped our grocery bills, housing costs continue to climb, and the job market can feel like a game of musical chairs. Relying on hope, or worse, a high-interest credit card, is no longer a viable strategy. It's a recipe for sleepless nights and financial fragility. A recent Federal Reserve study highlighted a stark reality. Nearly 4 out of 10 adults wouldn't be able to cover a mere $400 emergency with cash, savings, or a credit card they could pay off immediately. That's not a personal failing, it's a systemic vulnerability. But what if you could opt out of that statistic? What if you could build a personal financial firewall that protects you and your family from the inevitable shocks life throws your way? You can. You need money that's ready when you are. I'm talking about a real, accessible emergency fund, and let's be crystal clear about what this is and what it isn't. This isn't investment money you're hoping will grow in the stock market. It's not a vacation fund or a down payment for a car. It is a dedicated liquid pool of cash, set aside in a safe and easily accessible place, for one purpose only: to get you through a genuine, unforeseen crisis without going into debt. It's your financial first aid kit. It's the peace of mind that allows you to handle a crisis with a clear head, knowing you have the resources to see it through. It's the difference between a manageable inconvenience and a full-blown catastrophe. Now, I know exactly what many of you are thinking. An emergency fund? That sounds great, but I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I can barely cover my bills as it is. Where am I supposed to find extra money to save? That is the single biggest hurdle for most people. And it's the exact challenge we are going to tackle head-on. This isn't about finding an extra $1,000 overnight. It's not about deprivation or giving up everything you enjoy. It's about starting small, being strategic, and building momentum. It's about proving to yourself that it is possible, even when your budget is stretched to its absolute limit. The goal here is progress, not perfection. In this video, we're going to demystify the entire process. I'll show you actual numbers, step by step. We'll move beyond the vague advice of save more and get into the specifics. We'll calculate your personal emergency fund target, whether that's a starter fund of $1,000 or the gold standard of 3 to 6 months of living expenses. We'll break down exactly how to figure out number tailored to your life and your risks. And you won't be doing it alone. You'll meet real people doing it, people just like you. You'll meet Sarah, a freelance designer navigating a fluctuating income, and see the system she built to create stability. You'll meet Mark and Jessica, a young family building their cushion while juggling daycare costs and a mortgage. Their stories will show you that this is achievable. We will guide you through the entire journey, from the coffee table to the ATM to the bank app. We'll start with the discovery phase, where we'll use simple techniques to find hidden money in your existing budget. I guarantee you have some. Then, we'll move to the automation phase, setting up a system that builds your savings for you automatically, so you don't have to rely on willpower. Finally, we'll cover the protect and replenish phase, learning the rules for when to use your fund, and just as importantly, how to build it back up afterward. By the end of this video, you won't just feel inspired, you will have a concrete, actionable plan. You'll know exactly what to do this week to start building your emergency cushion, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Let's build your financial security together. Let's start with a story that might feel familiar. Meet Sarah. Her days are a whirlwind of steamed milk and textbooks, a constant balancing act between her job as a barista and her studies as a part-time student. She's ambitious and hardworking, but like so many, she's living on a razor-thin financial margin. every month is a complex puzzle of piecing together her income to cover her essential expenses, leaving little room for anything to go wrong. This constant financial pressure creates a low-grade anxiety, a quiet hum of "what if" that plays in the background of her busy life. What if her car breaks down on the way to an exam? What if she gets a toothache that requires an emergency root canal? These aren't just inconveniences. They are potential catastrophes that could derail her budget and force her into high-interest credit card debt, a cycle she is desperate to avoid. Today, Sarah decides to confront this anxiety head-on. She sits down to map out her financial reality in stark black and white. Her monthly bills come to a total of $1,800. The biggest piece is her $900 rent, which secures her small but essential apartment close to campus. Groceries are a carefully planned $300, requiring savvy shopping and meal prepping. Utilities add another $150. Then there's the relentless weight of her student loan, with a minimum payment of $200 each month. Her phone and internet, crucial for her studies and staying connected, cost $150. Finally, transportation to get to work and school is another $100. After taxes, her combined income is about $2,200 a month, leaving her with a buffer of just $400 for everything else and for saving. She's heard financial experts recommend an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses. For her, that's between $5,400 and $10,800, a number so daunting it feels completely out of reach, almost discouraging her before she even starts. So she embraces a more powerful psychology-backed strategy, the Starter Emergency Fund. She sets her initial goal at a much more manageable $1,000. This isn't a fund to survive 6 months of unemployment, but it's a formidable shield against the more common, smaller crises. That $1,000 is enough to replace a set of tires, cover a major plumbing issue, or pay for an unexpected flight home for a family emergency. It's the crucial buffer that turns a potential disaster into a manageable problem. It's the key to breaking the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. With her goal clearly defined, Sarah knows she needs the right tool. Keeping the money in her checking account would make it too easy to spend, and a traditional savings account from a big bank offers interest rates so low, her money would actually lose purchasing power to inflation over time. She needs a dedicated home for her fund, separate, secure, and actively working for her. Her research leads her to the perfect solution, a high-yield savings account, or FDIC. Today, at her kitchen table, she finds an online bank offering a 4.20% annual percentage yield, or APY. That means her money won't just sit there. It will grow and earn its own money through the power of compound interest. She also makes sure to check for one critical feature: FDIC insurance. This is a non-negotiable guarantee from the U.S. government that her deposit is protected up to $250,000 if the bank fails, giving her complete peace of mind. With a sense of purpose, she clicks Open Account and begins the simple application process. A few minutes later, it's done. A wave of relief washes over her, a feeling of control she hasn't felt in a long time. This isn't just a new account, it's a tangible step toward financial security. To make it real, she grabs a sticky note and in bold letters labels it Emergency Fund. She sticks it to her laptop, a daily reminder of the promise she just made to her future self, a promise of stability, $1 at a time. Let's bring this concept to life with Jason, a talented freelance graphic designer. We see him in his element, a bustling cafe, laptop open, absorbed in his creative work. But for years, the business side of his passion was a source of constant, low-grade anxiety. Like many freelancers, his income wasn't a predictable salary, it fluctuated, averaging around $3,000 a month. At the end of each month, he'd look at what was left in his account and promise himself he'd save a portion. But life always seemed to have other plans. An unexpected bill, a tempting purchase, or just simple oversight meant his savings goals were perpetually pushed to next month. This manual, willpower-based approach to saving wasn't just ineffective, it was draining. It created a cycle of guilt and stress, forcing him to constantly make financial decisions instead of focusing on what he does best: designing. Then, Jason had a pivotal realization. The problem wasn't his income or his discipline, it was his system, or rather, the lack of one. He decided to treat his personal finances like a well-run business by implementing a simple yet powerful automation strategy. He stopped relying on memory and willpower and started letting his bank do the heavy lifting. This is where the magic happens. Instead of all his client payments landing in one big, confusing pile, he set up an automatic split the moment the money arrived. He created dedicated digital envelopes for every dollar. Here's what his new system looks like. From his average $3,000 monthly income, the first 30%, or $900, is automatically routed into a separate high-yield savings account labeled Taxman. This single move eliminated the dreaded end-of-year tax panic that plagues so many self-employed professionals. Next 50%, or $1,500, flows into his primary checking account. This is his operating expenses fund, strictly for predictable costs like rent, utilities, and groceries. He knows exactly what he needs to cover his essentials, and the money is always there. Then, a crucial 10%, or $300, is whisked away into another savings account for long-term goals. This is his wealth-building engine, quietly growing for retirement or investments. Finally, the last 10%, another $300, goes into a separate checking account he calls his Fun and Freedom Fund. This is his guilt-free spending money, because he knows all his responsibilities are already handled. By automating this four-way split, Jason fundamentally changed his relationship with money. The decision fatigue vanished. The anxiety was replaced with a profound sense of control and peace of mind. He no longer has to think about saving for taxes or his future. The system does it for him flawlessly every single time a payment comes in. And the results? That $300 automatically sent to his long-term goals adds up to $3,600 a year, without him ever lifting a finger or feeling like he's making a sacrifice. This is the power of paying yourself first on autopilot. Jason's story isn't about the specific percentages, it's about the principle. It's about designing a system that makes your financial goals inevitable, freeing up your mental energy to focus on living your life and doing the work you love. Next, see Carlos, a delivery driver at an ATM. He withdraws $100 from his savings, just to demonstrate access. But his account is separate, so he knows it's not part of his daily spending. He can access it when needed, but it's not part of impulse buying. Now take a realistic scenario. Sarah's car needs a $650 brake repair. Instead of using a credit card with 20% APR, she checks her app, taps transfer $650 from emergency fund, and it lands in checking instantly. Crisis averted. Let's zoom out. To go from $1,000 to 3 months of bills, $5,400 in Sarah's case, she needs an extra $4,400. That's about $120 per week, or $475 per month. Is it possible? With small shifts, cutting dining out $50 a week, canceling one $15 subscription, and selling unused stuff for $60 in a garage sale, it's doable. Meet Linda and Omar, a couple reviewing subscriptions at their living room table. Together, they cancel streaming services they don't use and knock $40 off their monthly bills. They redirect that directly to the emergency fund. Team effort equals faster results. If you're carrying high-interest debt, don't pause the fund, just adjust. Start with the $1,000 starter fund, then do a hybrid plan. Pay off the highest interest card while still sending $25.50 a paycheck to your fund. Whenever a card balance hits zero, roll its payment into savings. For those with irregular income like gig workers or small business owners, plan from a conservative base. Average your last 3 months and subtract 10%. That becomes your baseline for saving. Instead of getting a bonus and spending it, deploy half to your emergency fund. Turn surprises into security. Now, how do you keep it from disappearing? First, separate account. Second, don't bury it in your checking. Third, turn on low balance alerts at a safe threshold. Fourth, auto transfer after payday so you never forget. And finally, label it clearly, emergency fund, so it's not confused with fun money. On Sunday afternoon, Adam sits with his phone and sees the balance hit $1,000. He smiles. That's confidence. That's not licensed therapy. That's simple, real financial power. Snapshot your plan. Starter goal, $1,000. Monthly auto transfer, $100. Side money, bonuses, rideshare tips. 50% to fund. Separate savings with 4% APY. Protect the boundary. Only use in real emergencies. Review quarterly to increase buffer. If this helped, like this video so more people can reset their money right, comment with your first goal, $500 or $1,000, and I'll cheer you on. Subscribe to Craft of Money, where each week I help you take practical steps that actually work. I'm your name, and I'll see you next time.